Phillies?
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to be a Philly. I've always been a Philly. This is kind of the, only place we kind of had our eyes set on, and it's a, most comfortable place for me. Like I said, everybody in this organization is so good, has been so committed to winning, committed to the players, the relationships that I've made. It's going to last a lifetime, and I feel like it'd be hard to get away from those people. And obviously, I'm very grateful to be back.
Okay, go to Matt in the back left.
Aaron, if you go through this whole contract with the Phillies, 7 years, you could be at the top or near the top of just about every record or most records for pitcher in this franchise's history. Did that sort of legacy, is that something you thought about? What would that mean, to spend your whole career with one team? Are those the kind of things you were thinking about during this process?
Not really, honestly. I think the part of spending my whole career with one team, yeah, I feel like that's pretty special to do, especially in today's age in baseball. The other stuff I haven't thought about too much. I think the biggest thing I think about is winning a World Series. The past 2 years we've gotten pretty close, and we obviously have the team to do it. And to make that next step is obviously my goal. It's everybody in that clubhouse goal. It's everybody in the organization's goal to do that. And that was a big reason that I came back. And Philly's the only place I've known. That was another reason, and my wife and I feel comfortable here.
Go to Alex in the front on the left.
Aaron, you just alluded to this, but following up on how the playoff run in the past 2 seasons factored into your decision, how big of a part was that in your decision making, like wanting to finish a job, wanting to win a World Series with this team?
Yeah, man, I think in 2022, the first time in a while since we've been in the playoffs and then making the World Series, we experienced that as a team, and it just makes you want to win it even more. And then last year was obviously really tough, but to taste that and have that right in front of us kind of drives us a little bit more. And there's nothing like playoff baseball, especially in this town. It's really addicting to be out there and play in front of this crowd. And I think I'm speaking for everybody in our clubhouse. We just want to, win it for the city and win it for this organization, and that's obviously our goal.
Okay, Anthony, right in the front.
David, there's always give and take in negotiations. But what made the Phillies want to go further now than maybe they did when you guys were talking back in February and March?
Well, we really never, at the time, just the situation, we really weren't that close at the particular time, for various reasons, and you always have to respect the player's ability to see what free agency's like. They don't get that opportunity. I think for us it really comes down to that, we have one of the best pitchers in baseball that really fits into our ball club. We know what we have. And then the type of individual you're talking about. But we also, sometimes you have to just make compromises, right? Because that's what the market plays. So you're in a position where when there's clubs that are involved and people are talking about, you have to go to a certain length to do something. And when you weigh the dollars and the length of contract, but when you start talking about an individual that's talented, that's a tremendous pitcher, reliable, goes out there every 5 days, takes the ball. We know the makeup of the individual. And then you look at the aging process too, and you're talking about extremely hard worker. In fact, one of the things over the last couple of years, I think we made a little bit of strides, is that sometimes we have to cut Aaron from working too hard because he really just, our people have said, hey, we need to he works so hard, we need to preserve him. And if you notice, in September the last couple of years, he's pitched very, very well. And so the later into the season, and of course into the postseason, that's been important. But when you look at, he's a good pitcher, he gets better all the time. There were some things that he did late in the season with a little bit of his delivery, holding runners, I think adjusting a little bit more to the pitch clock. When you start putting all of those things together, we thought, we want to win, we want to make it happen, and sometimes you have to compromise.
Okay, Corey on the left.
Dave, when this offseason began, were you confident that you guys were going to be able to work out a deal, or were there times when you wondered, given the competition, to sign Aaron, whether it would be possible? And just why was it so important to get this done this early, so quickly in the offseason?
No, I wasn't confident. Even though I knew that Aaron loved it here, I mean, it was apparent, and Hunter loved it here. But anytime someone enters free agency, you never know what would happen. So no, I wasn't confident by any means. I was hopeful and thought it would be a great decision that worked out for everybody. Really, the time frame aspect of it, it's nice to get it done early from ours because it gives us a situation where we can look at other things that we want to do to try to help our ball club however we can. But it really is more dictated by the player and his representative. So they dictate that time frame, and just they had received some offers from clubs that were pushing them. They knew that they liked Aaron a great deal. So for us, it was time to move forward at that particular time, and we were prepared to do so. And when reached out to John and explained the situation, got the okay. So it really is more dictated by player than by club as far as moving at this early a time period. But it really does help for us to have it done.
Okay, go to Matt in the back left.
Aaron, when the deal didn't get done in the spring training, you knew how far the two teams were, or the two sides were apart. Is there any time when you're thinking during the season, or maybe even after the season, like, I might not be back? I mean, just given what happened in the spring.
I think it was a little bit harder after the season ended. I thought about that a little bit more. During the season, honestly, didn't really think about it too much. Was kind of focused on winning and on the team, and trying to do my part and try to take the ball every 5 games and be healthy and try to give the team in the best chance to win each time I got on the mound. So I feel like I blocked that part of the free agency out for the whole year pretty well for myself. And yeah, it was obviously kind of tough at the end of the year after we lost that. Like I said, I've always wanted to be here, but you go into free agency, the reality of it is you don't really know yet. So, but I'm just grateful that we got this worked out and got it worked out early.
Okay, I'm going to go to the right on Matt to George.
Aaron, can you talk a little bit more about that process of getting it done quickly? And was there anything when you're on the open market about the approaches from other teams or the way that you interacted with other teams that maybe surprised you being new to this process?
I think it's just the business part about going into free agency, right? It's the reality of it. Obviously, it was a little bit different for me at first just because I've been with Philadelphia my whole career and I never really had to think about those things. And signed a contract in 2019, and I knew I was going to be here for 5 years. So not having to worry about, picking up our house and moving somewhere, moving our, soon-to-be family somewhere, and but just definitely blessed to be back here, and we don't have to make that big of a change. And getting it done early is definitely special and a plus because got a little one on the way, so I think it's going to make it a lot easier for us down the road.
Okay, we go to Scott on the left.
Aaron, I was going to ask you, players wait a long time to get to free agency. You were a free agent for a few weeks. Did you enjoy the process? Did you enjoy looking around and sort of seeing what other teams thought of you or how they valued you? Or was this not an enjoyable thing for you to go through these last few weeks?
I guess it's enjoyable and not enjoyable at the same time, right? I think it's not really about the money for me as it is being in a place we want to be for the next 7 years. I think that part is more important to me and to the relationships that I've made over here and the memories that we've made together as an organization, as a team, trumps that. And I think that's just the reality of the free agency that we kind of wanted to go through and see what it was about, but ultimately this was the place we wanted to be.
And for Dave, you talked about Aaron being the priority going into the offseason. Now that you've got that checked off, is there another area that you put above any of the others that you want to address this offseason? Is it just a group of things now that you want to tackle, or is there another priority, I guess?
Well, I think the way we will now look, and we've had this discussion, is that we're in a position that we can just evaluate a lot of different things that we think make our club better. We don't have really a glaring spot that we need to fill, like we needed a starting pitcher. But we're pretty deep in our bullpen. But of course, you can always be better. Our positional players, our infield's basically set. Outfield, we have a little bit question just because of a young player that we're trying to create some playing time. So we don't really have a glaring need, but we will continue to look to see how we can get better.
Okay, Todd on the left.
Aaron, you've been super durable, obviously, throughout your career. Have you thought at all about how you can stay that way until you're 37? I mean, 7 years is a long way away, and just staying competitive and staying at the top of your game. Have you given that much thought, or is that too far down the road?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I'm going to stick to my routine and what I've done up to this point. I feel like I have some ways that I believe I can make myself healthy and stay healthy. But it's all about figuring out, what I need to do and what I don't need to do. If I'm too tired, if I'm not too tired, to back off. Kind of like Dave was talking about earlier. There's no, set thing I have to do every single day anymore. I learned that early in my career that it doesn't work for me. So finding that routine early in my career has helped me out a lot. So definitely thought about that, and I hope I age well for sure. But I'm going to do everything I can to stay durable and take the ball every time they ask me to.
Is there something about the way that you pitch that has you confident that, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, you can be pitching as effectively as somebody like, Verlander or, Scherzer, one of those older guys?
Yeah, those guys are amazing. To see them doing that when they're 39, 40 years old. Charlie Morton too stands out to me as well. I definitely would love to do that, and I think it's just, like I said, taking care of your body, taking care of your arm, and knowing exactly what you want to do outside of the game, throwing wise and training wise. So I think it's an important thing. You hear it all the time when you're young. It's sort of cliche, is just stay healthy, and you hear it from so many people, and it's like, okay, I've heard that so many times, but it's true. It's true. If you stay healthy, you always have a chance to do something cool, even if you're going through a lot of ups and downs. Experienced a lot of struggles and ups and downs in my career, but staying focused on staying healthy, I always can turn something around.
And did you hear from any of your teammates? I mean, you were only a free agent for a couple weeks, but were they bugging you at all?
No, nobody really bugged me too much, which I'm kind of glad they didn't, just because that might have meant that it was going to drag out a little bit longer than it did.
Okay, go to Destiny right there in the middle.
Dave, with Aaron signed, do you consider the rotation set for 2024?
Yes, I do. We have 5 starters that we like. I think when you look at some of the statistical models, we had the best WAR of our group of any team in Major League Baseball. So we like our 5 starters, and we look like we're set.
Okay, Matt, back left.
For Sam, I'm wondering, what makes you guys as a front office, given all the things you guys look at, believe that Aaron will age well? Starting pitchers into the 30s are kind of a rare breed, I guess, durable ones in the sport now.
Yeah, I think we've touched on it, just in the last few minutes here, but it starts with his work ethic and his dedication and the desire to be great for a long time. And I think when you evaluate these sorts of things, you have to start with the makeup, and I don't know if anybody in the game has better makeup than Aaron Nola. I mean, we've touched on the routine and the consistency, and it's day in and day out. Good outing or bad outing, it's the same person, and it's the same desire to be good the next time he grabs the ball. So the work ethic, the ability to adapt, again, we've touched on it already, but the adaptability plus the routine, I think, is a great foundation for long-term durability and long-term success. So, I mean, it's the delivery we've analyzed, but it really starts with the human being, and I just don't know if you can draw up a better human being for long-term sustainable success.
Okay, great. Any